What's up, everybody? Listen, if you don't know, now you know. We're starting something new. We're going to call it Lyric Talk with Titus Glenn. I have a guest today. I'll let him introduce himself. But today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some music that's out, just have conversation around it, and just really just have fun with it. So, I'm Titus Glenn, songwriter located in Dallas, Texas. I've been writing for 20 plus years. If you want to Google me, I have placements with Marvin, Sapp, Bobby Jones, Marice, Griffin, who's an indie artist who is up and coming, chopped number 26 Billboard last year. And we are just here to just conversate. So that's me in a nutshell. I don't want to just say everything because over the course of these episodes, we're just gonna just talk. So I'm Titus, and today our guest is.
Hey, my name is Brian Bryant, and I am a singer-songwriter at heart. I actually do it. I'm a music educator. I'm also a music passionate person when it comes to new releases and songwriting, and when it comes to jingles and pop music and feeling very light and bright, but also feeling like you want to dance and maybe, be romantic with your significant other. I am
Oh,
that
man.
person. I'm that person. I'm a church boy. I'm a preacher, but I'm also, you can catch me on the dance floor. You can catch me in the booth listening to some turn up music, and it's all there for me. It's all there. And I'm appreciative for this opportunity to talk about new music with you, Titus. And let's go.
Let's go. Listen, I want God, everybody that's watching this understand the diversity that's in these these two right here, because I'm more so the CCM gospel, and I've been just, I don't know what to call it, sheltered a lot of my life, and so I'm expanded. Brian, he's more of a, I call him, he's become my friend, who's the guru when it comes to R&B and just different genres, and so I'm here to learn and just give my 2 cents. So let's get into our first artist. And Brian, just take it over, and we, because you started talking about song structure before we press record, and I was like, wait, what? Okay, save all that stuff because people don't know; they need to know. So let's just start with our artist, and maybe we can tie that into the artist that music we're going to be listening to.
Yeah, the song structure is very important. I really believe that telling a story as a singer-songwriter, I take my glasses off this. Telling a story as a singer-songwriter is important. And I share this on my social medias that when we do that, we're opening up a world. We're opening up our world to other people, or we are opening up an alternate world where other people can explore or express themselves or find
Mhm.
someone that they have something in common with in their experience. So I
So
feel
you
like
talking about the song structure in itself?
yes, song structure, how it's formed,
Okay.
if it's the hook that's coming first, or if it's the pre-chorus or the
Mhm.
chorus that's coming first, or if it's the verse that usually comes first, and then what comes after that. How are we ordering what we're singing in our songs to get
Mhm.
the point across? And
So
what's the most powerful way to do that?
that's what's up. So I'm launching a course to teach people how to songwrite, and part of that is song structure. That's like in the course I talk about how that is the foundation, and if you don't have that foundation, that
Mhm.
song can literally sink, just like your house could literally sink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But if your foundation is solid, you can rebuild that house. You
Yep.
can move things around in that house, just like a song. You can remix stuff, you can revamp stuff. But if that structure is not legit,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So if you could briefly just give somebody the definition of song structure for those that
Yep.
might be watching, that's like, what song structure, song, verse, hook, like, just briefly say that, and then we'll keep it moving.
So I hope to articulate this as best as I can. So song structure is the order in which the pieces or parts of a song are put in order or put in place in order for the listener to receive it. And so those parts are, of course, the hook, or the most catchiest phrase or melody in a song that is sometimes most definitely repeated. And that's the thing that you may remember. And it kind of summarizes the whole
Right.
song. So if I'm
Also
talking
the
about a
chorus.
song,
Also
yeah,
called the chorus. Yes.
also called the chorus. And I think sometimes in most hip hop and pop, it can be defined or called a hook. And then the other genres of music, it can be called the chorus.
Okay.
So yeah, those terms can be interchangeable
Yes, sir.
most times. And so the pre-chorus, of course, kind of leads, or pre-hook leads into the hook or the chorus, and the verses are me giving you the meat, the details, the lettuce, the tomatoes, all the other stuff. And the chorus, if you look at it in like a sandwich kind of diaphragm or idea, then in the middle is the chorus, and in the bun and all these other toppings are the verse, and sometimes the vamp maybe at the bottom. Absolutely. But it's the whole picture. How are you painting the picture? What are you trying to say? How are we trying to say it? That's song structure in a nutshell.
I love
and
it.
An example of that could be, so A, B, A, B. You kind of can hear these different terms. We won't get too much into it, right, I guess, Titus. But if you do more research on it, and Titus is a more seasoned songwriter than I am, I'm getting to this level. But A, B, that means that it may be a verse, and maybe a hook or chorus, hook, chorus, hook, chorus, excuse me, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And sometimes you may see ABC, just different types of letters and different types of order. That's all that is. But it's simple, but it can make or break your song, because you don't want your listeners to get confused, or you don't want listeners to ask questions and be lost in the sauce. You want it to be straightforward. You want to say, this is my story, this is the world, and this is how I want you to experience that world.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's get into our first artist. We're talking about The Weeknd and his music. I don't necessarily listen to, so this would be the first time I'm actually talking about lyrics to his album, to his records. So, Brian, just give us a little background about The Weeknd, like where you feel like he's been, and where you feel like he is currently in context to his writing.
So this year in 2022, kind of really commemorates The Weeknd's 10th year as far as like being really known. He first came on the scene 2011, 2012, if I'm correct, when he came out with his EPs and mixtapes. And then he released in 2012 what's called the trilogy. So the trilogy included Thursday and House of Balloons, and there's one more, but it was all three, and he sold it in stores, and that was like his first big kind of busting on the scenes of pop music and R&B mostly. So The Weeknd's he's from Canada. He's one of the Canadian brothers and sisters. And so, yep, he's from Canada. And his songwriting and his music, his voice is mostly compared to Michael Jackson, because he's high tenor. And the way he sings and his phrases, how he comes across in his singing is very similar to Michael Jackson at times.
Okay.
So this is his 5th LP. He just came out with this 5th LP called Don FM. He was just rewarded like the #1 song of all time on Billboard history.
Really?
He just made history. And I forgot who he beat in terms of that, but Blinding Lights, his single from his last album, After Hours, it's #1 on Billboard.
Blinding Lights.
Most #1 song.
What's the hook for Blinding Lights?
So I on the top of my head. But Blinding Lights, it was popular because it came right at the beginning of the pandemic. Okay. So that album called After Hours, where the album cover is him and there's blood coming out of his face, and it looks like he's being damaged. He's gotten into a car wreck. Okay. That came out March 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so he rode that wave, and then was the Super Bowl artist in 2021. Yeah.
I remember him performing the Super Bowl for sure. I think I remember that.
Yeah. So like he's paid his dues, and he's now, he's benefiting from all of the work that he's done in the past 10 years. And so here we go with Dawn FM. So he released Dawn FM on the 7th of January. Okay. He's been teasing Dawn FM, which was the sequel. It is the sequel to After Hours, which came out in 2020. He, at the end of his run with After Hours, he kept saying at these different award shows, "Thank you very much for your support." And then he would end it with saying, "The dawn is coming." And he would just go off stage and just walk off. And that was kind of him letting us know that the era of After Hours was coming to an end, and this new era
What's
was getting
coming?
ready to dawn upon us, which was called Dawn. Now we know it. Now we know it to be Dawn FM, the album title. But before, we just knew it as the Dawn.
Interesting. So do you think in the writing in this album that he connected the two? You know what I'm saying? Because you said, I think sequel, you know, you think of
Yeah.
something else that's continuing to expound upon something that was already taking
Mm-hmm.
place.
Right. I think in his songwriting, he definitely did it because this whole album is a concept album, and it's
Okay.
really geared and driven by a theme of radio. And so Jim Carrey is the radio host. He's the DJ of this show. And at the beginning of the album, he's saying, "You're now listening to Dawn FM," and he kind of continues to explain what the experience is going to be like. But if you listen throughout the album in the songwriting, the Weeknd talks about there's a lot of religious undertones in his writings,
Really?
especially with this album. Yes. And this album is mostly talking about thinking about life.
Mm,
So retrospectively thinking about the things that you've done, the experiences that you've had, the relationships that you've lost, the romance that you were in, the regrets that you could have had or you still are dealing with, in a purgatory type of way. So theologically, when we're thinking about purgatory, a lot of Catholics think that when you live, you
mm,
die, but in between death and entering to heaven, there's a transitional time, which is
mm.
called purgatory. So in his songwriting this time, he's experiencing and telling us the stories behind his past life and some of the things that he wished he wouldn't have done or could have done. So it's really interesting. So in his songwriting, he does continue from After Hours, the last album, which was mostly about living the moment, living in these different types of relationships, being hurt, being angry, treating people wrong, having the life of having, the greatest life,
Mm,
partying all night.
mm.
And when all that's done and said and done, now what do you have to say about your life looking back? So now in this album, he's saying, okay, when death is here, when the end is here, what do you have to say about what your life was like?
So basically, after you lived your life and did all that from the after hours, crossing over to the
Mm-hmm.
.fm, what did you learn? What did you experience? And in the in
What was
between,
life?
like,
Yeah, in the in between, what's life? What is it?
like this is what I'm talking about. I feel like the songs that are being written right now, in my awareness, is bringing me to a greater consciousness to be like, whoa, what did they just
Mm-hmm.
say? Like we're literally like in sync in some type of way, just because of the lyrics
Yeah,
that are being written in this time. You know what I mean?
right, right. He has one song, and I think we're gonna listen to it in a little bit called Gasoline. It's the second track on the album, I think. And in the song, he's really asking his partner or his lover or his friend to just roll him up in a mat and just pour gasoline on him because it's done. It's done. His life is, he's thinking about what's been going on in his life, and there's some things he just didn't like about it. He couldn't handle it. And I think it really speaks volumes to the music that artists are writing now, because we got some artists who are writing songs that are like really based in their pandemic experience. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, they lived the pandemic, they're sitting in their house, they're, writing about those things they're experiencing. And then we have other artists where they're writing music that is escapism. So we're living in the pandemic, but we're going to write things where you can dance to, you can make love to, you
Right,
can
right, right, right.
forget about what's going on in this escapism. But I feel like with the Weeknd, with this album, he's doing a little bit of both. He's saying that in the pandemic, we've had time to reflect on what life has been until now.
Mm.
Moving forward, what is life going to be like now after we've reflected on
Right.
our lives journey? And he gives us some dance numbers too now. So while he's talking about purgatory and all this stuff, he's giving us some tight beats that really get you moving.
So how about we just take just take a moment and just listen to Gasoline. I got it queued up, and let's just see what these lyrics talking about.
All right, cool.
All right. Hopefully, I've never heard it, so hopefully 30 we can get the 30-second mark. So, or is it 45 second? We gonna just work with it and see what we get. All right, here we go.
5 a.m. my time again. I've soaking up the moon, can't see.
What do you say? It's already my time to go.
He says, it's 5 a.m. my time again. I've soaking up the moon, can't sleep.
Okay.
It's 5 a.m. my time again. I'm calling and you know it's me. I'm pushing myself further. I'm just trying to feel my heartbeat beat. I wrap my hands around your neck. You love it when I always squeeze.
So can we pause it there, Titus?
Okay. Yeah.
So the setting of the song already, he's talking about what time it is, what what he's been experiencing. So he's been up late, he's been either partying or doing something where he's now explaining there's some type of sensual experience that he's describing by saying, I wrap my hands around your neck, you love it when I always squeeze. So it's me calling you at 5 a.m. It's me. It's 5 a.m. my time again. So there's some type of cycle or pattern of behavior here. And he's really describing that this interaction that he's having with this person is something that is a usual. And it might be time to just get it on. So you know what it is.
So is this like a 5 a.m. booty call?
Yeah. Yeah. So I also see some lyrics, and I put up the lyrics too while we were listening to it.
Okay.
There's one verse. I don't want to get ahead of what you're playing, Titus, but he said, it's 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. I'm nihilist. I know there's nothing after this. Of course, we know nihilism is the belief that after you die, there's nothing. You're nothing. There's nothing. There's no heaven. There's no hell. It's nothing. So he's saying it's 5 a.m. I'm nihilist. I know there's nothing after this. Obsessing over aftermaths, apocalypse, and hopelessness. The only thing I understand is zero sum of tenderness. Oh, baby, please just hold me close. Make me believe there's more to live. So
that's crazy. It's almost like, I guess from the lyrical content, it's almost like a hopeless in despair. I'm in this moment with you. Let me be with you so I can be aware that I want to live. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I'm glad you said that, because what we just heard after that verse, he says it's 5 a.m. I'm high again. And you can see that I'm in pain. I'm falling into emptiness. I want you cause we're both insane. I'm staring into the abyss. I'm looking at myself again. I'm dozing off to REM, which we know is the band. I'm trying not to lose my faith. And I love it when you watch me sleep. You spin me around so I can breathe. It's only safe for you and me. I know you won't let me overdose. And if I finally die in peace, just wrap my body in these sheets and pour out the gasoline. It don't mean much to me.
That's some crazy writing, right? Right. Not crazy in a bad way, but crazy that's like
Powerful writing. It's very descriptive and very vivid.
very descriptive, very vivid, very puts the listener in the place to imagine their own story. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm imagining not just his stance, but what is the stance of the person that he's talking to.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the other person, whatever he's writing this experience, the other person is willing to be there at 5 a.m. through the insanity to just be there. And that other person might be high as well. So
exactly. What are we going through together? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we going through? And me telling you, just wrap me in these sheets and just pour out the gasoline. Because you know what? None of this means anything to me. It doesn't even matter.
That is, I just, when you get to this level, I'm just like wondering what is it that he has had to go through to get that lyrical context. You know what I mean? Like when you write from that place, you're writing like this is something that he's experienced or somebody has experienced. It's almost like a insanity type of infatuation or love. You know what I'm saying? That he's writing in to the point to where you feel it. And not only do you feel it, you see it.
And to be honest, Titus, this is the first time I've read the lyrics out, because lately when I listen to new music, I do hear some of the lyrics, but I'm mostly listening to the production and the music and how the lyrical content, the cadences and the phrases match that feeling. So this is my first time really digging into what he said and how powerful it is. What the story that he's telling could be autobiographical, like you said, it could be about somebody else's life, but it does really not matter because the
Mhm.
point is that we go through so much at times in life that we do want to say, you know what, forget it all. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to end it all. So
Absolutely.
what are some of the things that are helping me cope with this stuff, but they're not working? So he did talk
Mhm.
about, you know, you're not gonna let me OD. We are
Mhm.
doing drugs. We are doing things that
Right.
we shouldn't have. I'm in some type of depression. I feel hopeless. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm falling into an abyss.
Mhm.
So so his psyche and his emotional mental health is not well here. It's not
Absolutely,
well, Titus.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You might need prayer, Titus.
He might, or laying of hands.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said before, and he's done this, is that he loves putting religious undertones and messages in his music. And this whole album is, to me, it has a religious message behind it. It really does, especially
Where you getting the religious message? We probably won't be able to listen to the rest of it, but
yeah.
where's the religious undertone that
Mhm.
maybe gives hope, or does this message even give hope in the song?
So I think his mentioning of the abyss and his mentioning of nihilism. So like
Okay.
I said before, the nihilism theology is that we live this life and there's no life after this. There's no heaven,
Mhm.
there's no hell. We don't exist. We fall into something that we just don't exist anymore.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that the theological undertone is that, you know, thinking through our lives, are we living for another life? What are we doing in this life when we go through struggles and we go through suffering like the Weeknd is describing? How do we cope with those struggles and
Mhm.
those heartaches and those pains? Who are our friends
Mhm.
dealing? How do they fit into this picture as we're
Right, right,
going
right,
through
right.
those things? Where does God fit into this picture?
Mhm.
Because even though he doesn't explicitly say God,
Right.
there are those notions of theology where he's acknowledging that the abyss,
Mhm.
nihilism, creation, me, why am I here?
Right.
This doesn't mean anything to me. And so I think those messages, they shout loudly and clearly
Mm.
to me, those that kind of can hear it. If you don't know too much about those references,
Or then
the
words, because those are pretty
don't
big
know.
words to the average
Yeah.
person. And then you've been through, people don't know you've been to seminary. So,
Right.
so
Yep.
you have a greater background on certain words and certain undertones that the average listener may not even be aware of.
And to think this through too is that and I don't want to go this way, but sometimes we say that, well, if you're hurting, just it's okay, just think positive thoughts or just
Mm.
pray and give God praise. But sometimes it's okay to just sit in the pain so that you can
Mhm.
get through it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I hear with gasoline is that he's sitting through the pain so much that he just
Ah,
wants to be set on fire. He
mm.
got to sit in it first in order to get to the next place. You got to grieve. You got to battle through it. You got to feel those feels.
So the gasoline is actually the instrument or the tool that the song is using to make the listener aware that this is something that your experience, which is also the gasoline, is what you need to sit in
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
to feel all those emotions, to take it all in, if you will,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
you can find a resolve into whatever is going on. And I think
Yeah.
it's I got excited because I'm in a class right now where we're talking about stillness. And
Mm,
sometimes in that stillness is like shutting the world out, right?
yep.
And being okay with how you feel.
Yep.
For
Yep. I
sure.
agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Having those friends that allow you to do that, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Allow you to kind of sit and not stay there, but I might say, Titus, just pour the gasoline on me, man. Get that match, just light me
Just
up. You know what I'm
so
saying?
when you say that, are you telling me I need you to listen and let me just be
Mhm.
here in this moment?
Exactly. Just listen to me. Be with me.
Right.
Feel what I'm feeling.
Right.
Empathize or sympathize with me. And we'll see what it be after that.
That's what's up. All right, so we got to move on because we already this lyric talk is already intense.
Yeah,
So if you
man.
watching, make sure that you're commenting on this video because we already in the thick of it, and we got like two more albums that we want to talk about. So I want to, before we move on to the next album, I want you to just kind of maybe highlight some of the other songs that are on this
Yeah.
album that
Yeah.
people need to go check out, and maybe come back to this post and just talk about how this album might be affecting them, or maybe some nuggets that they got out of the album.
So number one, I'll give this album a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it gives me R&B smooth pop 80s vibes, synth
Okay.
pop vibes. And I
Okay.
really like that smooth. I like that smooth selling. I like it's almost like I'm just listening to the radio and it's like late
Mhm.
at night. And I'm like, oh wow. Some of those tracks that I would really suggest people going to listen to are Here We Go Again, featuring Tyler the Creator. When you
Okay.
listen to it, you're gonna feel like you're listening to a power ballad. But when Tyler comes in, he really adds his own touch, talking about love and relationships and kind of the cycle of, well, we were together, now we're not together. If you ever want to get back together, just let me know. Here we go again. This is love. And so that's one. Number two, Quincy Jones shows up. Quincy Jones shows up on this album in a track called "A Tale by Quincy," and Quincy describes his relationship with his mother. It was very
Really?
powerful and very traumatic for him. His
Okay.
mother had mental illness, and he saw his mother getting tied up into a straight jacket, and so that relationship that he had with his mom and his stepmom impacted how he treated women in his love relationships in his past. And so that's one. It's called "A Tale by Quincy," which leads into "Out of Time," which is another R&B 80s ballad, which is really good. And last but not least, I want to tell people about that last song on the album. Is called "Phantom Regret," and it's featuring Jim
Mhm.
Carrey. Jim Carrey gives this beautiful monologue about really reflecting on your life. He says one of the most poignant lines in songwriting I've heard. I've never heard something like this in a while. He said, "In order to see heaven, you have to be heaven." So he's
Woo!
saying that. I know, right? What he says, he's like, "Oh my gosh," but he said that because he says, are you having regrets? Are you upset because people didn't follow you or like your stuff on
Mhm.
social media? How are you treating people when you're at your lowest? Um,
Mhm.
and I'm telling you, it wraps up, it summarizes the whole
Wow.
album, what I think the Weeknd is trying to get us to think about. And I don't know the Weeknd's religious affiliation,
Mhm.
but I definitely use it. I use that last single or that last track on the album to think and reflect and pray to kind of make sure
Really?
that my mind is right. And it's just like, wow, I got a lot to live. I got a lot of love to give. I got a lot of hurt that I got to work
Walk
through
through, absolutely.
to get to the next place in life.
I mean, but that line that just shifted me, because I can't really get into it on this, but the class that I'm taking currently, and that's
Mhm.
where we are. Is like God is in everything.
Yep.
So regardless of what affiliation he's with, the weekend, the
Mhm.
fact that you're able to see God in it is God.
Yep. Amen. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go and listen to that track, because I'm in the season of expanding and growing and not being so religious that I close myself off to what God may want me to see. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so I think, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to that track. Listen, everybody, we keeping it moving. If you just not tuning in, we've been talking about the weekend, Don FM, the new release. Brian has done an excellent job of just talking about the album, reviewing where the weekend was, where he is now. We already reviewed Gasoline. Go make sure you go review the rest of the album, and we're gonna continue to progress. So
Yeah.
the next album I wanted to talk about, and I cleared it with Brian, because he's, like I said, he's the guru, the guru in the music realm, man. Like, Brian has become definitely like a brother to me, and this is really cool that I get to do this with you. So I want to say publicly thank you for
Oh,
just
thank
being willing to do this.
you.
So I want to get into Disney, and I'm always
Woo.
a Disney fan.
Yes.
Most of the movies that they put out, I'm like, there's a sermon in like every Disney movie. There's a
Mhm.
message
It's a message.
and a message, right? And
Yep.
so we want to talk about Encanto. Like, to
Mm.
me, the music in it was really, 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 really dope.
Yeah.
And we talked about lyrics. We already talked about the structure of it, but I think there's certain things that you can do in music that gets the listener like, wait, what? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That repetitive nature that's like it becomes so catchy
Yes.
that
Yeah.
it's like I heard it one time, but that second time I got it. You know what I'm saying? And so one of those songs that did that for me was "We Don't Talk About Bruno."
Hmm.
So it was really catchy. We don't talk about Bruno, no, 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 no. And it was like, how did they take Bruno and literally make it two words without breaking the disconnect in it?
Right, right. That was, I think, and that's the magic of, and I give my hat off to Lin, was it Lin-Manuel? He is an amazing lyricist and composer and singer-songwriter. I'm like, and of course, if you all don't know, the same young man that did Hamilton is the same writer behind this movie Encanto. It's an animated musical from Disney. And the you cannot write a song in a musical without being a great storyteller. Okay, that's
Absolutely not.
because what you're doing, you have this overarching story, and in that overarching story, you have scenes, you have different interactions with different characters, and then you have to think, okay, I'm going to write this song as if it may be a monologue or a dialogue to tell this
Mhm.
story, to tell this interaction. Then I want to match the musical genre
Mhm.
that will fit and
Fit.
that will make
Listen.
it would make the message go across greatly. And so Encanto, which is mostly a Latin American
Absolutely.
musical from Disney, they do a great job on matching the salsa and the various types of Latin American or Latino X music genres
Mhm.
to the music that is done. And what more of a perfect example than We Don't Talk About Bruno?
Absolutely. And even in the context of what you're saying, they mix that Latin flair and the Caribbean and all that. They also mix it with a little pop.
Yep, I agree.
There was a song, I think it was a Surface Pressure song. That's like, wait, this is Latin, but I hear a little R&B, a
Yeah.
little jazz, a little
Yes. Yeah.
melting pot, you know what I'm saying, of so many
Oh my God.
cultures, but you know that the overall is that we're still in our heritage.
Exactly. Right. Right. So they do a great job with the instrumentation. And while I was asleep last night, before I went to sleep, I think the song that I was listening to was not a lyrical song. It was a composition, and the orchestra is playing, and that song is
Okay.
Abre los ojos. So with Abre los ojos, or Open Your Eyes in English, is just a beautiful composition that the whole orchestra is just painting the picture of a magical type of scenery and experience that you're in while you're watching the
Mm,
movie. When I look at the movie, I can't remember where it falls in this in the grand scheme of things with the movie, but they do a great job at painting the picture for us. And for those that don't know, Encanto means gifted. And so the main character is really, don't want to give any spoilers away, but I think it's okay to give what the gist of this is about so that they can understand the songwriting and how it fits in. Is
mhm.
that the main character is trying to figure out what her gift is. So all the people in her family have been given gifts, whether it's to heal, whether it's
Right.
to
Right.
hear from far distances away, whether it's to
Mhm.
shapeshift into someone else, whether it's to talk to animals. So all her family, they have gifts, but when it came to her, she wasn't given a gift. So she feels as an outcast. So being in the struggle of being a part of a family, but knowing that you're not like everybody else. And the songwriting deals with the the characters that have the gifts. Sometimes you can have a gift and you look at other people with gifts and say you got it well, but you don't know the struggle that comes with the gift. And
Right.
so a lot of the songwriting had, for example, I think the main character has a cousin or a sister that
Mhm.
is strong. She has
Mhm.
like mega strength.
Absolutely.
But in the song, she explains that I have this strength, but so many people take advantage of me because
Mhm.
they know I'm strong, so they put
Yeah.
more on me. They put so
Yeah.
much pressure on me. That's the theme of
Absolutely.
the song, I think,
Yes.
that sometimes I break under the pressure, but I have these expectations that I have to live up to that I'm not always willing to do that. So the songwriting speaks to those inner struggles, those internal struggles, and the blessings and the cursings that come along with it. And Miranda does a great job in resolving it with the main character to know that your gift sometimes is there the whole time, and your gift is meant to free other people.
And I mean, I thought of it as that people put so they give so much. Y'all might hear my kids in the background. They're getting excited. People put so much emphasis on your gift, on what you can do. But the truth is, from what I resolved in this movie, is that it's not about what you do, it's about of who you are, because you are the gift.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
that right there in itself was something that I took away from the movie. Going back to what Brian was saying about the it's called surface pressure.
Got it.
That's I want to read some of these lyrics, because to me, when I was listening to it last night on the couch, I was like,
Yeah.
OMG. Like, the
Yeah.
writing in this song is so descriptive, as well as it gets you, to me, pushed me in the mindset of how many people do we have that's strong on the outside, but something
Mm-hmm.
totally different is going on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this. It says, she starts with, I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. I move mountains. I move churches. And I glow because I know what my worth is. I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a rough, indestructible surface, diamonds and platinums. I find them. I flatten them. I take what I'm handed. I break what's demanded. But, right, under the surface, I
Mhm.
feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a three ring surface. Who says that? Like,
That's good. Ooh.
listen, like, I'm strong. Like, I could
I'm
do
about
all.
to fall out on the word berserk. No one used it
Listen,
in the song.
in the song,
I feel berserk.
I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a three ring surface, under the surface.
Mm.
Was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't want to fight? What is it, Cerberus? Is that his name?
Sure, Cerberus.
Under the
Yeah.
surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be of service.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the way she's already saying, I'm relying on my gift, but
Yeah.
really my gift is really reflected in a way that I feel weak without it.
That's something too, because I think you mentioned this too, Titus, is that sometimes we conflate our gift with our identity. We are not
Mhm.
our gift. We are
Absolutely.
not
Right.
our gift.
Yeah.
We are identified. Your identity is who you are.
Mm,
If you are a Christian believer, you know that your identity is found in God and Christ.
mm,
But we conflate those two, and so when the gift goes away or it's affected,
mhm.
our identity is kind of confused now, because we have now identified only to the gift, when the gift should only be an add-on to who we really are.
Right.
And then we allow people to identify us by the gifts and not by who we really are. They don't know us that way.
Right. And then we put ourselves in a position to be taken advantage of,
Mm-hmm.
because, I think of it as a worship leader in churches,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of people in my position that feel taken advantage of, because without the gift, we don't get the phone calls. When we
Yeah.
don't use our gift like they want us to, then we're talked about in a certain manner, or we ask for money for our gift, then we're treated in a certain way, but people
Mhm.
don't know how to separate the gift from the person.
Right. Right. And we have to tackle that and tackle those people, not physically. We have to have those conversations with ourselves, because sometimes it really we don't people don't know how to do that, because we don't know how to do that. So once
Right.
you figure that out, then you can tell people and say, this is a boundary that I have. This is how you will treat me. This is
Right.
how I will be, this is how I will be dealt with by you. So yeah, it's very poignant that, yeah.
That's what's up. So let's listen to a little bit of the surface pressure.
Woo.
I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. I move mountains, I move churches, and I glow cause I know what my worth is. I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a rough and destructible surface. Diamonds and platinum, I find I'm a platinum. I take what I'm handed, I break what's demanded. But
Did you pause
Oh,
the time?
I watched. My son just came in. I want to get
No, I was
to.
gonna ask you to pause it because I had something to say, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you got to say.
So let's talk about wordplay and let's talk about rhyme.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
So I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. I move mountains. I move churches. So nervous and churches don't rhyme, but they have something called similar rhyme. So nervous, churches, S. So I'm not nervous. The earth is. So it's still that position of my mouth, but it's also the sound that I'm making when I say those words. I'm not nervous. Earth is. I move churches. I know what my worth is. So it's still hitting that vowel sound every time. So I feel like sometimes we caught up in rhyming because sometimes I do that too. But if you can find a word that has a similar vowel rhyme, that will work as well. And it says, I don't ask how hard the work is. Again, here's is again, got a rough indestructible surface. So the songwriters are continuing to just capitalize on that type of vowel rhyme. That's all I want to say.
But that is so like, as a writer though, that's like I'd be like, wait, how did they just do that? You know what I'm saying? This is truly
Yeah.
I'm learning a gift when you write because I understand sometimes when I go back and look at some of my writing, I was like, wait, that rhyme, but I wasn't even trying to rhyme. I was just trying to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact
Right.
that you caught that, I wasn't even thinking about rhymes. I was just thinking about the word context and how it's reaching like a sentence, but it's singable.
Right. Yeah. It
You
is
know what I
very,
mean?
very singable.
And a lot of times when I'm teaching writing, I'm telling my last client I talked to, I said, once you read it out loud, does it make sense? Because if you can't read it and it actually flows, then to me that's when you need to rewrite it.
That's good. That's a good pointer. I hope y'all listening out there. I'm listening. Notes right here, baby.
Because I think it's every song should flow from line to line. You know what I'm saying? And I think if it does not flow and you cannot tie those loose ends, then there's a word that you either need to replace or a line that you need to replace so that once you get done with one line, it effortlessly flows to the next line.
And I want to say like that's amazing what you just said. It's amazing. I also want to give credit to whoever the vocalist is for this song. I think a lot of times in songwriting, we want to write songs for women sometimes like for high altos or sopranos, but this vocalist she doesn't give me alto per se. She's giving me a contralto or something lower. And so I want to give credit to the vocalist behind whoever's singing Surface Pressure, but also the composers and the writers to match. And I'm not sure if they matched it to her voice or wrote it to her voice and then maybe put in a different key. But I just want to give credence to that, but also think about us as songwriters, how we write to specific voice types. And I think this is a great job at what they did.
For sure. I totally agree. I'm gonna play this next 30 seconds. I was trying to get to one point where you hear that repetition, like they did again in Bruno, no, that I think is key when you're trying to get the listener to be able to adapt to what you're trying to do quickly.
under the surface, I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a three-ring circus. Under the surface, was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't wanna fight Cerberus? Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can be of service. A floor crack, the straw in the stack that breaks the camel's back. What breaks the camel's back?
I think this right here.
That's that pop coming in, baby.
Right. For that drip. You know what I'm saying? That's
you can see it dripping. You can see the water drip.
Absolutely. But that's also, I think people don't understand that When you write a song, you can you're writing of the song. This is how I describe it. Your structure is the framework. Your lyrics and melody is the frame of your house, right?
Mm,
But your
mm,
production is the roof.
mhm,
The window panel. It's the all that stuff
mm.
that's on the outside that makes the house a house.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can
Yeah.
have the frame, the lyrics and the melody,
Mm,
right? But
right.
sometimes without the production of it, which is the bells and the whistle, your song won't make sense through and through. It should make sense. Don't get me wrong, it should
Yeah.
make sense with just lyrics and melody, but it adds a level of, oh, this is not an apartment, this is a mansion type of house.
Interesting. Because that production, to me, it can make or break a song. Because then
Absolutely.
the production is not good, then I'm my focus shifted from hearing what you got to say to, dang, what was that? What was that chord? Or why are the drums that loud? Or why didn't they use this version of this chord? Or ooh, that sounded that didn't sound good.
Right.
Um, and I also like want to just mention I am an educator. I've been an educator for almost 10 years now. But when they wrote pressure like a drip, drip, drip that never stopped, just not the repetition, but the onomatopoeia that's there. I can
Come on, onomatopoeia.
when water falls and drips, that's the name of it. That's what it's called. It's drip, 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 drip. It's the word we use to describe the sound that we hear from something. And then pressure that'll not that will, but that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. So that itself is some wordplay to the ninth degree, and it just gives me goosebumps to hear it like that.
So y'all, if you're just logging in, we've been talking about so much in these lyrics that I'm almost like Iyanla, get a napkin and just because this is to the musician, to the lyricist, to the person that just likes to just read. This is just something that makes you think about that even you can take in your own personal life, like what is happening even in the context of this song, what's happening on the outside, but that's not a reflection of the inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's we got one more song we gonna get into, but before we get into the next song, make sure that you go check out this movie with Disney, Encanto. It's a really good movie, and make sure you pay attention to the lyrics and the words that are happening in the song. Cause you know what? I'm gonna plug it right here. Lyrics matter.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So because me and Brian are church boys, we gonna add this. We gonna add this
That's right.
in the equation of all these lyrics that we're listening to, and we're gonna dive into Ricky Dillard. He has a new album
Ooh.
that's coming out. By the time this drop, it will be available. It's coming out Friday, January the 21st, and he's already been releasing songs. And I believe the name of the album is called Breakthrough, right?
Breakthrough the Exodus.
Breakthrough the Exodus. And I thought it was very interesting, especially with him being under um who is he under? Bishop I finna say Paul Morton, but he's not under Bishop Paul Morton. He's under
In
Azusa.
DC.
Azusa. Come on. Who
You talking about in
Carlton
DC?
Pearson.
Okay.
And so to me, because of the teaching of Carlton Pearson, I feel like it's a statement to say I'm
Hmm.
not in that same mind frame I was in.
Oh wow.
So this breakthrough, this exodus is actually a conscious thing, and it's not actually
Wow.
a physical thing.
That's good.
Now you might see it physically because of the way that I'm acting, the way that I'm moving, the way that I
Mhm.
present myself, because I don't care any longer what you think about me,
Yeah.
because my mindset has breakthrough and I'm no longer in that same place.
And I don't know, Titus, if you can pull up if you have the album cover pulled up, but I do want to kind of we're focusing on lyrics, and connected to the lyrics are the visuals that we see before we hear the lyrics.
Okay.
And that the visual or the album cover for Ricky Dill's new album, Breakthrough the Exodus, is a very different album cover for gospel music, I would say.
Okay.
Because I'm used to seeing the person's face or a picture of them looking like this or doing like this or have a hands lifted. But his is, you can see his back and he's directing the choir. And I just want to give props to Ricky Dillard. He's been doing this for over probably 30 years now. So this is, I feel like the album cover artwork speaks volumes to his legendary status in the gospel music industry. The colors behind it, the light that is shining on his head from the top, his hands together as he is directing the choir. You can see that he's probably hard at work. There's some sweat on the back of his neck, but you can see he's been hard at work. This is his hard work. This is ministry. This is his calling. And that's what he's pictured here doing.
But I think there's layers even to this picture now that you say it. Like even the way that the light is shining through the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That light coming out of that place to where I didn't know who I was, but now I know who I am type ordeal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think there's layers to this picture alone because I think Ricky, because he's been in the industry for a while, he's really just got the credit that he deserved in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But this is a man who's been in the industry for 20 plus years, if not more.
Time.
You know what I'm saying? But now it wasn't until what was the album that I got the victory. And I think that's the one that he got his stellar on, or something like that. That's when he really started to this is the third album after the last two where people are like, Ricky Dillard, like you're coming with it. But Ricky Dillard,
he been coming with it.
Right.
He's been coming with it.
So it's kind of like I would definitely second that I'm definitely proud of Ricky as well and where he's headed. I've been listening to the album and it's cool. I like one song so far that really resonates with me, and that's all of my help.
Okay. That's the first single.
That was the first single that he put out. And I thought like it has that to me like a kind of that choir bop.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, that is a reflection of who Ricky is. He takes a song and although it's choir, he still does something else with it.
Gotta move, gotta groove, gotta bop, gotta get it on. He got to be up there directing and jumping and moving his hips and stuff like that. Absolutely. But his first single, it is a choir bop. What I enjoyed mostly about it was the parts that he is going to give those canon parts to each, the alto section, the tenor section, and the soprano section. And I really enjoyed that with this song, with the modulations up and down, that it gives choirs, something to groove to. Now, mind you all, when we talk about songwriting, that Ricky Dillard and his team have gone through the CCM gospel kind of transition. So we had choirs probably like pre-2001, pre-2000, where we had a choir sound. We had the Hezekiah Walkers, we had the Ricky Dillards, we had the John P. Keys, we had up and coming, of course, we had Kirk Franklin. But as CCM with Israel Halton and a new wave of praise and worship leaders, with Fred Hammond kind of heralding the urban praise and worship kind of movement in the late 90s or mid 90s. We had a lot of solo gospel artists come to the forefront, like Israel Halton, that were bringing more of a CCM Caucasian kind of merging of gospel music and gospel shifting. But Ricky Dillard and a lot of the legends have continued to pave the way, and they have continued to add some CCM into their catalog and continue to write still to gospel, traditional gospel music, and he's still going through that. And so that's another thing about Ricky Dillard and his writing and the composition of his music, that it's going to stay true to Black gospel music, choir music, and still give us something that is current in our time that we live today. Absolutely.
I'm trying to remember. Let me just play some of this All of My Help, because we talked about song structure, and I don't know if this resonates with this song, because for those watching, sometimes in gospel music you only have an A B A B.
Yep.
But I think this one has an A B A B and then
a C. Yep. It's a longer song from what I remember.
So would you say that there's a D in there because of
The last part, I would say.
the changing and the rounds and the let me just see if I can fast forward a little bit.
You would come through. You were there.
So let's start right there because
Oh,
I feel like this is after hearing that, do you feel like that's a AA? Because it sounded like they did like 2 verses back to back.
yeah. I agree. Because I was thinking of it as one full verse, one big verse.
Mm.
Because it starts the same way. Oh, you know what? It also reminds me of like this, one person can sing that part because of how well they sing in unison wise. That's really good.
True. But then after this, I think it goes to all of my help.
Yes,
So
it does.
could it?
There's no pre-chorus. There's no pre-hook.
I don't think. Let's listen.
Put your hand on it right here.
Would that be considered the pre-chorus? No, that's the chorus.
That's the chorus.
Comes from you.
Let me see.
Okay.
So there is a C.
C.
So it's A, B,
B.
C.
C. And
Because I don't think they go back to the A.
They go to B. I think they go back to B.
It's a C, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Sapp.
There we go with a D.
So it feels like they went A, B, C, D.
I love it. I love it. Give me something different.
But I think that's what gospel to me has on any other genre. They format songs in a way that's like, we're not gonna give you the same. You just gotta pay attention.
Now, yeah.
Like pop, we know we're gonna get that A.
Oh yeah, you know it ain't been trying to change. Nope. That's what makes it pop. Now with the what they call it, not with the singles, but with the rough cuts, that's when you'll find the different song structures. You'll find different. But the ones that are the main singles, you probably, like you're saying, it's gonna be A, B, A, B, C, A, B, C. That's, that's going to be it. But with those rough cuts, you get a little bit something different, something.
For sure. I will say though, I am looking forward to the rest of the album. I think to me, I like the two, All of My Help and Making Room. I'm still kind of letting Behold the Christ and the actual Breakthrough song grow on me.
Okay.
One of these songs, I was waiting on Lily and Lloyd to come through, but he picked somebody else, and dude.
But I think she's still supposed to be on this album, right?
I think she is. I think he's waiting to release that song because there was a churchy song on here, and somebody asked if I like the song. I like the song. Let me not be too critical because I don't want nobody. Well, I'm just gonna say it. Like I felt like the lead could have been different.
Gotcha.
And I'm not saying. I think it's He Won't Fail. Like I know the writer, the song is good. They did some churchy stuff and then they kind of slowed it down.
Yeah.
And the lead is she can sing. She can sing. That's not what I'm saying. You know how you have people that can sing, but maybe they could have led a different song. that would have made them stand out more.
Right.
Am I being too critical?
No, I think that's important though. I think as choir directors or whoever you may be out there, knowing the right fit for the song that you're trying to do is important. I'll be honest, I haven't heard that song. So I have to go listen to it.
We'll go listen to it. We'll play a little bit of it, and then we'll have to wrap up. But I think for me, this song, I was expecting something else.
Come on, encourage my daughter. Come on, get on your feet.
I'm sorry, did he say encourage my daughter?
He said, "Get on your feet."
Oh, before that, I thought he said encourage my daughter.
Oh, he might. Wait.
Come on, encourage my daughter. Come on, get on your
Oh, he did. Encourage my daughter. But that's the thing. I don't think she did a bad job. I think Ricky Dillard is giving people chances.
That's why I was like, he made that. Yeah.
He's gotten to where he is, and now he's opened up the door for other people to be heard.
That's what he did with Tiff Joy too, right? A few years ago.
Tiff Joy and what was the guy that sung soprano on his last album?
Oh, and that was an awesome song.
Absolutely. The lifter of my head. Yes.
When I call him, he will answer. When I needed the Lord, he heard me. In my distress I cried, he was quick to deliver.
Okay.
So I think she did fine on the beginning. That wasn't. I guess I was, because it's a shout track. I was expecting Lillian. So I think from what Lillian normally brings to shout songs with Ricky Dillard, this particular artist doesn't have that range, which is fine. Yeah. So this is just Titus Glenn speaking. I think she did a good job in how she delivered. I was looking for Lillian.
That's my first hearing of the song.
Okay.
Beginning, I was like, what they say in that last song, berserk. I was berserk because the song starts almost like I'm supposed to be in a cotton club.
What do you mean cotton club?
It's like a jazz. It's like at the beginning, because the bass is doom, 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 doom. Because it starts kind of churchy, but then the chord structures behind it are very like ballady. So she's singing to match it, which I like. I just wasn't expecting that, if that makes sense.
Oh no, yeah, I understand. Like, this song has a lot of transitions. It has like 3 transitions. You get the jazz, and then you go into like this choir, but he won't fail, he won't fail, and then it goes. So it has a lot of transitional pieces, which is cool, which is what I like about the song. So overall, the writer who did it, she's actually from Dallas. She wrote the song. It's a really dope song.
Oh, cool. Whoa.
Dearest Craig. Dearest Craig wrote the song. She's from Dallas. So congratulations to Dearest Craig for getting the place.
Congratulations.
That's what's up. That's really dope.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna have to go listen to the entirety of that song. I know one song that I like from him is the one that was double led, and it was from his Living It, and that was a Keep Living It album.
Okay.
It was the one with Nikki Ross, and then it transitioned to another lady, and it was a jazzy song. It was jazzy for like 80% of the time, and then it went to church, which was a really powerful song. So I like.
Was it a live or was it a studio?
It was a live one. It was live, and I think it was in Chicago. It was recorded, I think, not live in Chicago, but I think it was a different album. But this song that you just played, it reminded me of that jazz kind of influence and hybrid jazz song with gospel music.
That's what's up. So y'all, that has been our show, the first episode of Lyric Talk. And we are here, Titus Glenn, Brian Bryant. We are here just talking lyrics, the music, albums, and just putting our 2 cents in, just having conversation. So if you like this show, subscribe to this channel, like this page, share the conversation, get in the comment section, and y'all, we gonna make this a weekly thing. If you up to it, just type in the comments. Say, lyric me, please. Maybe we can make that a thing. Lyric me, please. So y'all, that's been our show, and we will get you guys next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.